Well, we welcome everybody into our team hotel here in St. Paul. The St. Louis Blues tomorrow night getting set to face off against the Minnesota Wild. And the trade deadline has come and passed. The St. Louis Blues made one trade, as you heard throughout the day, and, of course, also heard on our live broadcast with John Kelly and Doug Armstrong, the trade of Paul Stastny to the Winnipeg Jets. And that was pretty much it for the St. Louis Blues today. We're joined by the Blues head coach, Mike Yeo. And Mike, you've been a part of these trade deadlines now for quite a long time. Before we talk about the impact of today's move, can you give us an idea of what it is like as a coach and a player and just the anxiety of a day like today?
Well, and it's not just a day. It's been leading up to this for a little while. Certainly no excuses on our part, but I know that this day has been weighing pretty heavily on a lot of players' minds, and obviously certainly a lot of mixed emotions inside of our locker room. From different players, and whether it's friends or whether it's young players, it impacts everybody differently. But that said, it's a difficult thing, and it's something that now I think that we're happy we can say this is our group. Now let's go.
What have you learned over the years about how to manage through that week, maybe 2 weeks leading up? Whether it be a team that is trending one way, a team trending another way, it's always kind of in the back of everybody's head.
I was going to say, apparently I haven't learned enough because we're on a 6-game losing streak here. So I'm just glad it's over, like I said. And, it's tough because these guys, they go to war with a guy like Stas. They're obviously very close with him, both, as teammates. But, when you talk about a guy like Steiner and how important his relationship with Stas is, this is a tough part of the business. You think about how it impacts a guy like Stas. But at the end, at the end of the day, you remember that we were professionals, and, he gets to go and have a good opportunity, and we have a job to do. So, as of tomorrow, it's a day off for the players. I've already spoke to a few of the players, and I think everybody's ready to move on. I think we're ready to move forward.
Well, that job to do, as you mentioned, begins tomorrow against the Minnesota Wild. You go into that game really just one win outside of a playoff spot as well. So there is still a heck of a lot at stake and great opportunity.
Well, the way I see it, for the first time in a long time, I think that we finally have nothing to lose. I feel like we've been playing not to lose in certain situations. We've been, whether it's a lack of goal scoring, we have some people that are trying to do too much, and then we have other people that are playing with that kind of fear. And we can't, it's leaving us in between. It's leaving us playing as individuals. And so now we have nothing to lose, as far as just getting back to our team game, getting after it. And I would say that we're in a similar place that we were last year after the trade deadline, after Shaddy got traded. Obviously, if you look back at that time, even Stas got hurt shortly after that. So we've got players that can do the job, and now we have to prove it.
Doug Armstrong mentioned in his interview with John Kelly an opportunity maybe for Tage Thompson or other players. And then, of course, he said it's all on the head coach to figure out how he wants to move them around. Do you look at it ahead and say, okay, Tage Thompson is a player that has played center. Ivan Barbashev last year played some of his best hockey for you at center, that you do have some options?
Well, I can tell you that we've already started getting to work on that and talking with the coaches. I can also tell you that you're going to have to wait until tomorrow to figure out.
I knew that was coming, by the way, but I had to ask. You know that, right?
Of course.
As you go into the locker room then and you say, okay, guys, this is the group. Here's what at stake. What are the important things for your hockey team going into tomorrow night's game and then building up for the game against Detroit and moving forward?
Well, I think, for me personally, it's just let's take a stand. But it's important that, as far as how we do it. And right now, guys are trying. The intentions are there, but we're not going about it the right way. And so if we're going to get out of this, if we're going to do what we all want to do, and that's make the playoffs and be a real competitive team heading into the playoffs, then we need everybody to be really solid in their role, in their jobs. Obviously, not one player can go out and win the game himself for us. It's a team effort, and we need to make sure that we've got everybody. Don't take yourself out of our team game, and make sure you bring what we need you to bring.
Do days like this and scenarios like this create another level of personal accountability maybe?
There's no question. I think we're all feeling it. Obviously, I would say that if we were on a 6-game winning streak as opposed to a 6-game losing streak, we might be answering some different questions today. So, obviously we look at where we're at. We've put ourselves there. We put ourselves there with the start that we had, which the players deserve an awful lot of credit for. In some ways maybe overachieved a little bit, and then we had a stretch where we probably underachieved a little bit. But as far as I'm concerned, the true story of this season is not going to be how we started. It's not going to be the middle part. It's going to be how we finish.
Well, we appreciate you giving us some time on a day like today, and trade deadlines are always difficult. I always tell people on the air, whether it be the weeks of speculation leading up or whatever, you're not potentially moving or acquiring hockey cards. They're actual people and their lives, and there is a real human aspect to today, isn't there?
Yeah, there's no question it is. There's a lot of emotions, and again, I think that everybody is probably just happy that it's over right now, and now we're ready for this final push.
Thank you, Mike. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.
Thanks, Curbs.
This Blues head coach Mike Yeo, and don't forget that game tomorrow night against the Minnesota Wild. A 7 o'clock face-off, 6:30 pregame. The pregame show on the radio side on KMOX. On the TV side, it's on NBC Sports Network.